Mr. Walker, welcome back to the committee. You were here not long ago. We're glad to have you back.
Thanks, sir.
Napoleon said war is history. Freud said anatomy is destiny. King says structure is policy. I welcome the new office because I think you're creating a structure that will facilitate good policy in this area. Because without some area of responsibility in the department that's focused specifically on the problem of cybersecurity and resiliency, I'm afraid the response and the planning and the programs will be diffuse and unfocused. So I hope that you will move quickly to facilitate the formation of this office and to get it, to stand it up so that it can meet its urgent purpose.
Yes, sir, that's the goal. It's important for us, which is why the Secretary announced it. And, you know, one of the things I learned early in my career is you design organizations around process and how you want to drive the policy. And that was part of the distinguishing factor in establishing this department specifically for cybersecurity. And you'll note the second part, which is energy security, which incorporates that closely, you know, tied physical component, which is absolutely necessary for us to focus on, particularly as the interdependency exacerbates our risk.
Now, the problem here, and this isn't your problem, this is an all-of-government problem, and I just came from a hearing in the Armed Services Committee with the nominee to head Cyber Command, is that this country lacks a coherent strategy of deterrence in the cyber realm. We are either, you can argue, we are either at war now or a war is imminent in terms of cyber attacks on this country, small and large, and yet we have no deterrent policy. We have our adversaries feel there is no cost to their attacking us in a variety of ways, large and small. So again, this isn't your responsibility, but I hope that in the councils of government, as you're discussing these matters, we can't simply rely on defensive measures. We can't keep patching software. Ultimately, people who are making a calculation as to whether to attack us have to believe there will be a response, whether in the cyber field or sanctions or some other area. But this is something that I'm urging everyone. I don't have the Secretary of Energy or the Secretary of Defense or the President sitting here, so you're it. And I hope you will take this message back, because without a deterrent strategy, we're simply sitting ducks, and there will be, not maybe, there will be an attack unless we can deter our adversaries. I hope you will take that message back.
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you. Mr. Lee, I know you did some analysis on the Ukraine attack, is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
Growing out of the response to that, Senator Risch and I have introduced a bill that's here that essentially is a Back to the Future bill, because one of the learnings I understand from the Ukraine attack was that they had some places where there were analog switches and there were human intervention that enabled them to recover more swiftly. Our concern is that if we're totally digital, that there, as you I think testified a few minutes ago, there may be unintentional provisions in there that allow us to not be resilient, and we've asked the national labs to look at some of these ideas. Is that something that you think makes sense?
Thank you for your question, Senator. And yes, I do. I was actually able to provide some comments to the House companion for that, and I thought it was very well positioned. I thank you for your leadership on it. There are a lot of systems.
I didn't know you were going to say that, but I'm delighted you did.
Yes, so teed up. But there is a lot of functionality we're putting in that doesn't make sense. This is not to say we need to go back sort of to the Stone Age. We cannot stop innovation, and we should not. I mean, a lot of optimizations make sense for the businesses that run, but there are certain locations and certain functions of protection equipment and safety equipment that doesn't need to be able to run Minesweeper and Solitaire on it. It can do a more basic function, which in a sense makes it a much more difficult information attack space for the adversary. So I do think it makes a lot of sense in the right application.
Well, I hope, Madam Chair, that's a bill that we can move. Again, it would talk to the national labs, instruct the national labs to work on this concept of where in the system, not the entire system and not taking it back, but where in the system could we place some of these elements that would be more rudimentary, if you will, but would protect us from a catastrophic cascading of software. Mr. Walker, I hope that you can, and I'm out of time, but I hope that you will get back to us with thoughts as you're standing up this office. And one of the critical points here is the relationship between the government and the private sector. We don't run the electric grid. We can only help work with the utilities to do so. And to the extent that there are impediments to full coordination and cooperation, in other words, things like utilities' concerns about liability or costs or how do we do this in a way that's not the heavy hand of government but is a cooperative relationship. What I'm asking you is if you observe and develop, and I would ask this question also to the electric cooperative and to the utility industry generally. If there are impediments here, please let us know what they are so that we can try to address them, because this is a crucial issue, and it's got to be close coordination without smothering, is I guess the way I would put it.
Sure, and thank you for the point, and I surely, if I run into an impediment, I have not seen one yet. We have a fantastic relationship with EEI, APPA, and NRECA, and then working through the ONG Coordinating Council and the Electricity Subsector Coordinating Council. We work through these issues, and the great part about these forums is we've all got the same and similar mission. We approach it from different angles, perhaps, but the mission is to make sure that the energy infrastructure is available when needed. And fortunately, we have great partnerships with those members.
And I'm out of time, but with the chair's indulgence, I hope one of your elements of your work will be red teaming so that you can demonstrate to utilities where they have problems.
Yes, we are. We're taking a very progressive, proactive approach on many of these issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator.